back in 2014, when I was 14 years old, I used to ride my bike at night, singing music, having headphones on my ears, which I kind of wish I never did do that in life when I was 14. I wish I didn't do that when at night and stuff because I was really paying attention really. I didn't pay attention where I was riding my bike at night and stuff, and I fell off my bike. I fell off my bike and I ended up getting hurt on my bike, and now is that sometimes I get back pain. I get back pains once in a while for that problem. After I got hit, I felt like I got pushed to the side, like falling off from my bike and landing in the ditch. Which I know my lower back, or like close to my spine. I feel like when I got hit and I fell off my bike, I feel like I might not walk again because of the way I landed, and I didn't like how that went out because I feel like I was scared if I might not walk again because of the way I landed on my bike and how I fell on the ditch as well. Like I said, what caused it was a drunk driver. Never found out who was responsible. I just know they were drunk and stuff. And I remember that day that they went on the wrong lane. They were on the right lane, even though that was like the direction I was coming from, because that's the way I was supposed to go through, and they were supposed to be on the left, but that didn't happen. But they went on the right lane, and they weren't. I don't think they were paying attention to me whatsoever. Same time as I didn't have my light on. I didn't have a light when I used to ride my bike, and like I said, I didn't pay attention. I used to have headphones a lot. Didn't really care. I was always singing like the song I always listened to, and like I said, I didn't pay attention, and like I said, I ran in and bumped into the car. My or like the bike handle and stuff. It hit the car. The van, the working van. It hit the bike. It pushed, like I said, pushed me on the side and stuff. And then all I remember was I was cussing at it when I fell, and I feel like I might not get up anymore. I feel like I might have trouble to get up and stuff like that when I fell in the ditch and stuff. There was a gentleman who thought I died because he heard after I fell, it was all quiet. He didn't hear a sound or anything. Cause he was on his phone and he heard that that fall in the ditch. I was like, and I fell, and that's it. Then he was gonna report it and stuff. And like, then the moment he heard me cuss, and then that's where he knew that I was still alive. But yeah, I remember I was in pain. I remember I was in pain. I felt like I was afraid to kind of go home because it's like my parents warned me about it, and I didn't listen. And to this day, like I said, that's something I wish I didn't do. I wish I didn't ride my bike. I should have listened to my parents too. Like, it's dangerous to ride a bike because, like I said, I didn't use lights. I didn't believe in helmets or anything. I really didn't. And then that's one thing I regret in life, that I should have had a light. If not, I should have never been on the road, at least riding the bike, knowing that there's people who probably don't even care what happens, because they didn't check up on me. They just basically left. They didn't care what happened to me, whether if I died or not, or how I fell on the bike. They didn't go check up on me. They didn't even see whether if I was okay or not. They just continued to drive off, and that's it. Where I just laid down on the ground, just cussing. And yes, like I said, I was at 14, and like I said, in my mind was like, I was like terrified. I was terrified that I might not get up again. And like to this day, like, I can hardly ever walk straight. I'm stuck like walking like a hunch. I have to hunch just to walk right. There's times I can. I know there's times I can walk straight, but not too very often, because later on it ends up hurting are hurting me a lot. I don't know why. Like I said, I know why, but like I said, I kind of wish I didn't do that stuff at night, like riding the bike at night, knowing that I had no light. I didn't use the helmet, and at the same time, I should have been more careful. And I should have not use headphones and singing to myself, thinking that there is no danger, because I think there's nothing's gonna happen. I told my parents that nothing's gonna happen to me when I ride my bike. And if I did, I would stand up to those people. But guess what? My 14-year-old self never did do that. And like I said, I learned a valuable lesson too, as well. Because in the end, I should have listened to my parents' advice about riding my bike and how I should be more careful. Because now, like now, moving forward now, like nowadays, like you see people end up getting killed while riding their bike and stuff. I'm not saying that everyone was a drunk driver or anything, but there's people who are out there who doesn't really pay attention where they drive. They don't, like I said, sometimes they're on their phone. They kind of distract themselves while driving. I'm not speaking for everyone, but I know there's people who are like that, and I don't want anyone, deal with that issue, knowing that they're, they can, like I said, I don't want anyone to experience the same way I did when I was 14, thinking that there is no danger, because like I said, nowadays everything's all dangerous, no matter what, because there's people who get angry and go road raging. Yeah, they don't care whether they hit people or not, and there's people who are out there, they don't even pay attention. They just drive off without care in the world. They don't care if someone dies or not. Society doesn't care about. And people in this world sometimes don't even care about one another. I'm not speaking for everyone. I can't say that, but I can say somewhat of the population, people are like that. I would say that. To me, I think it's a crappy thing that people do. And I feel like people should be responsibility for their own actions. And I don't think anyone should ever hit anyone and take off. Like I feel like if I know I did something wrong and if I was in that situation, I know I would stop and check on that person, because you never know. You never know if you kill them or not, or injury. Essentially, you gotta face the consequences. Same time, you gotta focus on that person's life, because that person's life matter. And I will say that I'm not gonna be a person who takes out, drives off, and leaves the scene. Maybe in my old self, if like the way I was at 14, with where I didn't really pay attention, I didn't really care about anything. Like I said, maybe I would have, but the person I am right today, like I'm glad I know who I am, and I know I wouldn't do these things, because I wouldn't want anyone to do that to me. Like I wouldn't want to do that to anyone, or I wouldn't want anyone to do that to me as well, because in the end, everyone gets their time. Like I said, there's always, how people always say there's how it'll come back to you, because I do believe in that. I'm honest, like I say, because there's people that pay the price and stuff. It's not like I'm hoping for people to pay the price, but it does happen that people do, experience for their bad doings and stuff. And like I said, I don't want anyone to think that riding a bike is okay without lights, because it's not. And I want to say to the people who leave the seat and kill people, shame on you. And you gotta work on yourself again, and at least face the consequences. Then instead of leaving the scene, I will say that.